You want to know what really breaks her? It's not your silence. It's when she realizes she no longer has power over your emotions. See, people talk about no contact like it's some magic spell. Block her, ignore her, disappear, and somehow she's supposed to come crawling back. But here's the truth no one tells you. Disappearing isn't the real blow. What cuts deep, what really shakes her, is when she reaches out emotionally and finds nothing, no reaction, no warmth, no anger, nothing. Because here's the thing, silence still carries weight if your heart is still screaming. You could block her today and still check her profile tomorrow. You might not text her for 2 weeks, but if every part of you is still wrapped around what she's thinking, what she's doing, who she's with, then you're not gone. You're just hiding in plain sight. And whether she sees it directly or not, she feels that energy. Women are intuitive like that. They can sense when you're still emotionally anchored to them, even if your number isn't popping up on their screen. But now imagine this. She sends a message, something light, something innocent, hey, just checking on you, or maybe she posts a story designed to bait you in, a soft smile, a subtle memory, something she knows will trigger a feeling. But instead of jumping, instead of watching it 10 times and overanalyzing every second, you breathe, you feel nothing. Or better yet, you feel peace, the same peace she used to interrupt. That emotional detachment, that's what hits harder than any no contact trick. It's not about blocking her number. It's about deleting the emotional code she once had access to. And that takes strength. It's easy to pretend you don't care. It's easy to ghost her and hope she comes chasing. But what's not easy is becoming so centered, so full, so grounded in yourself that her presence or absence doesn't shake you anymore. That's the shift I want you to understand. Because emotional absence, real emotional absence, makes her question everything. She doesn't just feel ignored, she feels unimportant. She starts to wonder, did he really move on? Am I not the one who had that effect on him anymore? And when that realization creeps in, it cracks her confidence. It makes her look back and search for the moment she lost her hold on you. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about punishing her. This is about reclaiming your emotional space. It's about recognizing that your peace, your energy, your worth, those are not things to hand over easily, especially to someone who once made you feel disposable. So forget the disappear and wait strategy. That's passive, that's reactive. What's stronger is when you stop feeling like you lost something and start realizing you got yourself back. When she can't find the emotional hook anymore, that's when it truly stings. That's when it really sinks in that she doesn't have that place in your heart, not because you're bitter or angry, but because you've simply outgrown the version of yourself that needed her validation. And that right there is what hits her the hardest. Pause for a second and think about this. What happens when the woman who once expected you to react, beg, or chase suddenly gets nothing? Not silence, not a petty block. I mean nothing. No response, no shift in tone, no reaction when she flirts with someone else in front of you, no jealousy when she posts something meant to sting, just calm, controlled indifference. That right there, that's power. You see, people confuse detachment with being rude or cold, but real indifference is different. It's not pretending not to care, it's actually reaching a place where her behavior no longer moves you. And when you get there, you become unpredictable, unreadable, and unreachable. Emotionally, most guys, when they feel hurt, try to show strength by cutting contact. They go silent, thinking it's a move. But deep down, they're waiting, checking, hoping she'll notice and return. And she does sometimes, but not because she misses him. She comes back to see if she still has him. And that's where most fall into the trap. She sends one, hey stranger, and suddenly the guy melts. He lights up, responds instantly, and just like that, she knows. She knows she still has him wrapped around her finger. The chase is over. Her power, confirmed, his healing, undone. But imagine something different. Imagine she texts and you respond hours later. Calm, neutral, no excitement, just pure presence with no emotion tied to her anymore. You don't give her anger or eagerness or any form of energy that says, I've been waiting. You give her nothing, not to hurt her, but because you're genuinely not moved anymore. That's when the dynamic flips. Indifference communicates something no words can. I don't need you to feel whole anymore. In that message, it's heavy because women aren't used to that. They're used to being the center of emotional gravity in a man's life. And when she realizes she's no longer orbiting your world, no longer capable of pulling you into old patterns, she begins to question herself. She wonders if another woman has taken her place, if maybe you've truly evolved, or worse, if you've started loving yourself in a way she never expected you to. And in that moment, she's not thinking about your silence. She's thinking about your strength. Understand this clearly. You don't have to fight, block, or ghost her. That gives her too much attention. What you need is control over your own emotions. That's the loudest message you can send. And it's quiet, subtle, devastating. Real indifference isn't born from bitterness. It's born from growth. It's what happens when you've healed beyond the desire to prove anything. You don't want revenge. You don't need her back. You're not faking confidence. You've built it. And that energy, it radiates. When she sees you unbothered, not playing games, not even watching hers, that's when she begins to feel the real loss. The loss of your emotional investment, the loss of your need for her approval, the loss of being the woman who could once affect you. And no contact can't compete with that. Because silence still holds space. But indifference means the space she once had no longer exists. That's what truly shakes her. Let me ask you something. What do you think hurts more? A man who goes silent and disappears? Or a man who transforms so powerfully that the woman who left him barely recognizes the version of him that now walks the earth? Because here's the truth. Going quiet might make her curious, but leveling up makes her regret. See, when a relationship ends, especially one where she had the upper hand, she expects you to sulk, to spiral, to fall apart quietly in your room, replaying every memory, scrolling through old messages, clinging to hope. That's the story most women write in their minds. And if she was used to being the prize, she believes her exit has the power to paralyze you. But when she looks back and sees a version of you who didn't just move on, but moved up, everything changes. That's when the confusion hits. That's when the silence isn't just silence anymore. It's evolution. Because the man she thought she could always return to no longer lives where she left him. He doesn't look the same, doesn't think the same, doesn't walk, talk, or glow the same. He's not hiding, he's rising. And he's doing it loudly. This is what you have to understand. Your greatest revenge is not a cold shoulder. It's undeniable progress. It's posting your growth without aiming it at her. It's showing the world that you didn't crumble. You converted the pain into power. Hit the gym, not to prove a point, but because you've remembered how good it feels to respect your body. Build your business not to make her jealous, but because your focus returned. Read more, think deeper, love yourself harder. Not to get her back, but to become the man who would never need someone who took him for granted. And the beauty in that, she'll see it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, casually scrolling or hearing from a friend, she'll pause and say, wait, that's him? And that question won't come with pride, it will come with pain. Because the glow you now carry doesn't belong to the version of you she knew. It belongs to the one she underestimated. That's the kind of transformation that hits her harder than 1,000 days of silence. And you know what's most powerful? Doing it without bitterness. You're not leveling up out of spite. You're not trying to make her feel small. You're simply tired of dimming your light for someone who didn't know how to hold it. So now you shine. And not just in your looks or your lifestyle, but in your mindset, your boundaries, your peace. People feel that. She will feel that. And it'll burn quietly, because women don't always admit when they regret letting someone go. They'll watch from afar. They'll test the waters with a, how have you been? They'll try to insert themselves again, but it's not because they want the old you. It's because they see the new you and wonder if there's still space. But by then there won't be, because the man you've become knows his worth. He's not hungry for old crumbs when he's now sitting at a new table. And that silent, confident, unapologetic growth, that hits her way harder than any block, mute, or no contact ever could. Let her feel that. You want to really mess with her mind? Don't just disappear. Be seen, but not in the way she expects. See, everyone's first instinct after a breakup is to vanish, block, mute, go into hiding. It feels like control. It feels like you're doing something powerful, but what if I told you that going completely silent actually gives her clarity? Because when you disappear, she tells herself, he's hurt, he's trying to heal, he'll be back. She puts you in a mental box and she stops wondering. But when you stay present in just the right ways, without reaching out, without chasing, but simply existing confidently in her line of sight, now she doesn't know what to think, and that confusion, it creates space for her mind to obsess. Imagine this. She sees your name pop up in a tagged photo. You're not hiding. You're out, you're dressed sharp, you're smiling, not pretending, but genuinely glowing. And it's not a thirst trap. It's real life. You're building, you're thriving, you're connecting, you've elevated. And there's not a single hint that she had anything to do with it. Now her mind goes wild. Because if you were truly broken, you wouldn't be posting wins. You wouldn't be making moves. You'd be silent and shattered. But you're not. You're showing up, not loud, but with a quiet presence that says, I'm doing well and I don't need to say a word about it. That's more powerful than blocking her. Because when she sees you winning silently, it creates friction inside her. She wonders, is he over me? Did I ever matter? Was I the one holding him back? She starts stalking your page, watching your stories, asking friends, trying to find clues. Because now you're not just absent, you're unpredictable. And unpredictability is magnetic. Letting her see you in your new season without reaching out, that's how you stay in her mind. Because it forces her to question everything, not with anger, not with drama, but with mystery. You haven't disappeared, you've evolved in plain sight. And that is what really haunts her. It's not the man who goes quiet, it's the man who moves on and makes no announcement about it. Now don't mistake this for showing off. This isn't about posting gym selfies with sad captions. This isn't about flaunting rebounds or trying to fake happiness. That's still trying to get a reaction. That's still giving her your energy. What you're doing is different. You're showing the world and her by default that you are rooted, focused, intentional. You've stopped orbiting her and started living. And that subtle presence, the fact that you're still visible but not accessible, is more powerful than any ghosting strategy. Think about it. When someone vanishes, you move on. But when someone is still around, still rising, and doesn't even look your way, that lingers. That stays in your head. That makes you question if they've found something better or worse. If they've become better without you. So stop thinking that silence is the only strategy. Strategic presence paired with emotional distance is what truly gets under her skin. It's not that you're gone, it's that she no longer knows where she stands with you. And that uncertainty, that's what keeps her thinking. Make her feel that? You want to know what really drives her crazy? It's not when you cut her off and turn bitter. It's when you become emotionally unavailable and still remain kind. That's the twist she never sees coming. Because most guys either crumble and beg, or they flip the switch, turn cold, block her, lash out, and try to win through anger. But when you show up composed, calm, respectful, and emotionally detached, that's the one combination she doesn't know how to handle. Because what do you do with a man who no longer needs you and still wishes you well? It's haunting. It shakes her because it shows emotional maturity she didn't expect from you. She thought you'd lash out. She thought you'd plead. She thought you'd try to get closure. Instead, you smile, nod, keep your distance, and don't flinch. You're not mad. You're not trying to punish her. You're just done giving her access to your inner world. That's the part that really stings. Emotional unavailability doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you've made peace with the situation. You've stopped reaching for someone who stopped reaching back. You've stopped making her the center of your emotions. And it's not because you hate her, it's because you outgrew the version of yourself that needed her validation. And here's the twist, she feels it. Women are emotionally sensitive creatures. They know when a man is pretending to be fine and when he's genuinely moved on. And the moment she senses that you're no longer reacting, no longer checking, no longer emotionally open the way you once were, her brain panics. She starts revisiting moments, testing boundaries, sending little feelers just to see if you'll flinch. And when you don't, that's when the power dynamic shifts completely. You don't even have to say much. Your tone, your presence, the subtle distance, it says everything. You can still greet her politely, you can still be cordial, but your energy is no longer inviting her in, it's neutral. And that neutrality screams louder than any emotional outburst ever could. It tells her that she's no longer a trigger, that the version of you she once had access to, the one who gave emotionally, deeply, fully, is no longer available, not to her, not like before. And that's where the pain comes in for her, because now she's dealing with a man who clearly still has self-control, kindness, and presence, but none of it is for her anymore. And the hardest pill for her to swallow isn't that you're angry, it's that you're unaffected. That's what real emotional growth looks like. Not revenge, not pretending, but rising above the drama with grace. She'll remember that version of you. She'll replay it again and again in her mind. Not the guy who ghosted, not the guy who begged, but the one who stood tall, respected himself, and chose peace over pettiness. Because nothing is more attractive and more painful to lose than a man who can feel deeply but no longer lets his emotions be manipulated. She'll try to decode it, she'll wonder if it's real, she'll ask herself how you got there, but by the time she realizes it, you'll already be too far gone emotionally to offer her answers. And that's what truly hits her the hardest. Let me ask you something real. What's more powerful, trying to get even or becoming someone so magnetic, so grounded, so radiant that no one who hurt you even recognizes the version of you that came out on the other side? The truth is, most people spend so much time plotting emotional revenge. I'll block her and make her feel it. I'll get with someone else and let her see I moved on. I'll hurt her the way she hurt me. But all that energy, that's still giving her power. That's still orbiting around the memory of her. And it might feel satisfying for a second, but it doesn't last. Because revenge fades. But radiance leaves a permanent mark. When you stop playing the game, when you stop trying to win by hurting her back, and instead choose to shine from a place of inner wholeness, that's when you truly hit her deeper than anything else ever could. Because now she's not dealing with bitterness, she's dealing with your brilliance. She's watching you become a version of yourself that didn't just survive the pain, but used it as fuel. And that kind of glow, it's unmistakable. You can't fake that kind of peace. You can't manufacture the kind of energy that comes from loving yourself so deeply that you don't need validation, attention, or closure anymore. It shows up in how you carry yourself. It shows up in how your energy no longer shifts when she enters the room, or your mind. It shows up in how you smile more, how you move with purpose, how you're no longer chasing, proving, or reacting. Because revenge says, I want you to suffer. But radiance says, I've elevated beyond the version of myself you could break. And that, right there, is what stings the most. She may try to act like she doesn't notice. She might ignore your growth, pretend like she's unbothered, maybe even throw a few passive shots just to see if you'll respond. But deep down, she sees it, she feels it, and it unsettles her. Because now, she's not just watching you live without her, she's watching you thrive. And it's not about showing her. That's the key. You're not glowing so she can see it. You're glowing because you earned it. You went through the fire and you didn't just survive it. You came out stronger, wiser, more aligned with who you're truly meant to be. The pain didn't define you. It refined you. So forget trying to hit her where it hurts. She already knows what she did. She already knows what she lost. Your job now isn't to remind her of the damage. Your job is to become the kind of man who transcends it. There is nothing louder than peace, nothing more attractive than purpose, and nothing more powerful than a man who no longer needs the past to validate his future. Let her feel that.